All right, hello everyone. Welcome back. So, I feel like there's always a lag between some of my videos because I post things like a week behind and then I'll react to like something about them later. But I wanted to clarify something because I don't like when first of all, I don't like when there's like a misunderstanding, I guess, with what my opinion is or what my actual feelings are. And I do not like when people put words in my mouth or like say I said things that I didn't actually say. Um, but honestly, I feel like the people who understood what I'm saying understood it, and the people who, I don't want to assume people are purposely misunderstanding or misinterpreting the things that I said, but clearly I need to clarify things so it's more better understood what my position on. So I made a lot of videos talking about the Black community, wokeness, racial idolization, a victim mentality, um, and just all of these issues that I overall feel like affect negatively, in my opinion, affect the Black community. So I basically shared my opinion based off of actual observations, though. That's why I feel like people are mad, because I'm not stating something that I just made up. I'm literally talking about something that I've actually observed, which is why I said the video I'm talking about specifically was how the woke community turned into racist. And I made that statement because I have literally observed people in the woke community pretty much make statements like, "Oh, I hate white people, only support Black people, only go to Black owned businesses," and basically have a very racist outlook towards white people, other races, or pretty much just prioritize Black people over everybody else. And I personally think that's problematic because I feel like that makes if you're going to complain about racism but then think it's okay to be racist towards other people, I think that's a problem. I don't like double standards and hypocritical beliefs, because I feel like you're not standing on something objectively. And as most people know who watch my channel, I am very objective about things. Like, if something's wrong for one person, it's wrong for all people. I don't think it's justifiable for people in the Black community to be racist towards white people just because some white people are racist. Or just because some other races are racist. I feel like racism can come from any person. Racism is not, what's the word? I think racism is not solely a issue for white people. I feel like there's this idea or concept that only white people can be racist, and that's just not true. I feel like anybody of any race can be racist, because at the heart of racism is a hatred towards other people. Um so if you're a Black person that hates all white people, that does, in my opinion, make you a racist, because your literally sole reason for hating someone is their race. And I feel like for people to complain about the racism that they face, but then say it's okay for them to have a racist attitude towards other people, I feel like negates the entire point of their argument. Um, and my real opinion, I guess I will read the response I made to a comment. And I'm not calling out this person's comment. Obviously, they felt a certain way about what I said. but I responded basically clarifying what I actually stand for, because I feel like for people to assume I have an issue with black people or I don't like black people is not my heart, nor is that something that I've ever claimed to say. And I think when people hear me say, when I say things like, I don't create my entire identity around blackness, I feel like some people hear like I don't like being black. And that's not what I said. I said I don't create my identity around being black. It doesn't mean I don't like being black. It doesn't mean I have an issue with being black. It doesn't mean I think being black is a bad thing. It's just not what I personally have created my identity around. And the reason I don't create my identity around race is because, well, at the actual heart of it is because race isn't real. And I feel like when I say that, people, it's like, I don't know. The mentality I have on it is something that you're not gonna get if you're still viewing the world through the lens of race. I had to unlearn that mentality, and so I understand why people take issue or think I'm saying something negative when I'm honestly just saying I do not create my identity around my blackness. Like, being black is not my entire identity. It doesn't mean I'm like, being black is, I'm ashamed to be black, or I'm ashamed of my skin color, or I'm ashamed of any of that. That's not what I'm saying. And I don't know how better else to say it other than it's like, you know, you can I really don't know. I'm trying to think of like an analogy to explain it, but I'm kind of blanking on it right now. It's basically just like, I know I will always be seen as a black woman to the world. Like, that is the my phenotypic features. Like, if someone was going to describe me, they would say black, female, whatever, and then whatever other descriptors they have. But my identity as a person, I guess how I choose to identify myself, is not based off of just me being black or me being a woman. I feel like those are aspects of me as a person, but they are not what I feel like I choose to create my entire I don't want to say entire identity. It's just not what I personally believe are the most important aspects of me as a person. That's a better way to say it. So anyways, I'm going to read my response to this comment because I feel like it actually gives my honest opinion, which I'm not going to read the other person's comment, just my response, because I clarified what I was clarifying what I actually meant, and I can't find it anymore. Where is it? Okay. So, and I'm actually glad some people are actually responding, defending me. So I'm grateful for that. But I basically said that I love black people. I work with the majority of people in the black community at my job. I said my issue is with the woke community, identity politics, and racial idolatry that I feel creates more racial division and a victim mentality, neither of which I believe actually benefits the black community. And it's just like, I think that was the clarification that I gave. Like, the woke community, in my opinion, I feel like the woke community identity politics, racial idolatry, these things all create more racial division. Why? Because it's prioritizing using race in every aspect of a person's life. It's prioritizing race as being the most important aspect of a person over their how smart they are, over, how hardworking they are, over any other, aspect of a person. It prioritizes someone's skin color as being the biggest factor of how a person is going to experience the world. And I feel like people have that mindset because of the woke community, because of identity politics, and because of racial idolization. When they put their race and their racial identity on a pedestal and make their blackness, and it's just like we say. The other thing that I did clarify is that we see that happening with a lot of different minority groups, but I feel like this is where I feel like it's hypocritical, because we say Black people are allowed to create their entire identity around Blackness and be proud to be Black, and I'm pro-Black people, only Black people, I only support Black people, and that's okay, right? We say that's okay. But let's reverse it. Let's put it in for white people. If we said whiteness, people say Black power. And if the roles were reversed, if white people were being like, white power, I'm proud to be white, whiteness is the most important aspect about me, every person will be calling that white person a racist. That is my actual point. It's like the Black community, or I should say the woke community, feels as though Black people are allowed to have Black people are allowed to prioritize Blackness as their identity, but if any other community was to do it, they would be called racist. And I'm saying, like, that's what happens when you participate in woke ideology, in identity politics, and when you idolize your race. That is what is created from those things. And I don't think any of those things actually benefit the Black community. And I think it creates and causes a lot more racial division in this country. Because like I said, how is one okay? But if white people did it, it's bad. And then if every other race acted like how the Black community acts around race, this would be probably the most racist country in the world, which I guess some people would argue it is, and I feel like this is the other thing, like the more races you have, the more opportunities for racism there are, right? If you go to monoracial countries, you don't have racism per se, but there's still conflict between people. People can find literally any reason to create conflict or divide people. That's my actual point, I guess, in a sense. Like, it's not just only racism is bad. I feel like any hatred that people hold towards other groups of people, like having any sort of hate in your heart for other people, is the problem at every point. It's just like, and this is another way I viewed it, right? I have experienced, being mistreated by people of my race, right? People of my own race have treated me badly. And if I was like, oh, I get to turn around because people of my own race treated me badly, that means I should hate people of my own race. That wouldn't be okay to make that statement. But then, we say, oh, well, because if a white person is treating you badly or talks to you badly, that means, it's okay for you to hate all white people. And I'm saying, why are we still acting like it's like it's really still stereotyping, and it's just segregating people, because right, like, because one white person was racist towards me or treated me poorly, or nasty or whatever, that means all white people, I guess, are racist, and I should dislike every single white person on the planet. But like I just used, it's like, if it's not coming from, when someone's treating you poorly of your own race, you're not saying that the person treating you badly is racist, or using how that one person treated you to say you should reject or not care for any other part of their group. It's like you're still applying a mischaracterization. You're using one person's hatred, one person's anger, whatever, to misrepresent an entire population. And it's like, you can't do that. You can't use one person's mistreatment of you as an excuse to hate an entire group of people, because that's exactly what racists do. You know, a racist might justify their hatred of black people because they believe all black people are criminals, and then they'll say, well, look at all these black people committing crimes. Are they justified to be racist towards all black people now and assume all black people are criminals? No. But it's like, how can y'all, it's like people are so blinded by wanting to, they're blinded by the identity politics, and also the victim mentality that it creates. Because, anytime a white person does something to a black person, it's racism, it's wrong. If a white person or a white cop murders a black person, it's racism, it's wrong. But when black people are murdering other black people, what's the response? I feel like I said, and this is not to, like I said, well, I shouldn't keep saying like I said. This is not me trying to minimize that racism is a problem for some people. There are racist people, but every person in the world is not racist. And it's not okay, the same way it wouldn't be okay for a racist person to misrepresent the entire black population over a minority of people in the black community who commit crimes. And honestly, I feel like the crime issue is a whole other thing I can make a whole video about, because that's just another video I'll discuss. But basically, it's not okay for a white person to stereotype all black people as being criminals, and then use any time a black person has committed a crime as the justification for hating black people. The same way it's not okay for a black person to say all white people are racist, and therefore I'm allowed to hate all white people because there were some racist white people who exist in this world. I feel like both are equally wrong. That is my point. And I feel like for someone to mischaracterize what I'm saying as you just don't like black people, or you're just not comfortable being black, neither of those are true. I love black people. I work with majority of black people. I am comfortable in black spaces. I don't know if that, like I said, I feel like even though I have faced some, I've had some annoying experiences with other black people, I'm not using some individual black people in the community to be like everyone in the black community. Like, I don't have a hatred towards black people. I don't think less of black people or less of myself because I am black. I really just think like what makes people important in this world is not their skin tone, is not their race, is not their gender, their sex, or whatever. It's just like every person has value. Every single person on this planet has value. And because I truly don't put myself or my race on a pedestal, because I feel like it's very easy. It's like it's very easy when we create these communities. Well, I'm only going to look out for people in my community. No one else matters, you know? That's kind of what is happening here. It's like we're once you divide people into these groups, and now it's like these groups only care about the best interests of the people in their groups, right? So, you know, any type of community, you can have a Jewish community, the Black community, Latina community, right? If every one of these community is only focused on the best interest of their individualized community, it's like it's dividing people further. And I feel like people aren't coming together in the right ways, because it's like, well, my community, I'm always going to put my community, whatever identity or community they create their identity around, they're always going to put that first. So if Black people are always going to put Black people, their interests above everyone else, and the Latina community is always going to put their issues above everyone else, and a Jewish community is always going to put their interests above everyone else, all you have is a bunch of divided groups all fighting to be on top. Division, racial division, however, whatever you want to call it, it's just creating a further divide between people. And that's what I'm saying. If every other community acted the way people in the woke community act about Blackness and being Black and pro-Black, and I'm only going to support, and I'm only going to be friends with, and I'm only going to surround myself, like, we would live in a very, very ugly, nasty world. Now, I'm someone who loves diversity. I never want to be in a room where I'm only surrounded by people who look like me. Now, I'm not saying that that's an issue, right? I'm used to being a minority. Honestly, majority of my life growing up, I was always the minority. I feel like a big part of my background, I was born in Texas, very big Hispanic community. Me and my sisters grew up, you know, thinking there was literally no Black people in the world, because in Texas we were surrounded by Hispanic people. It was common for me to be the only Black person in my class when I was in Texas. Moved to Colorado, still the minority. It was mostly just white people in Colorado. Me and my sisters might have been the only Black people in our entire school. That's an exaggeration, but pretty close to it. Then when I finally moved to Georgia, I was like, oh, there's a way more Black people. There's a lot more Black people than I've ever seen in my life. Because at that point, I'm thinking me and my family the only Black people in the world, right? But anyways, I'm comfortable in any room of any race of people because I have diverse friends. I'm not only friends with Black people. I'm not only friends with white people or Hispanic people. You know, my best friends in every grade have changed race. My best friend in Texas, who I'm still friends with, she's Hispanic. Her name is Kimberly. In Colorado, my best friend was a white girl. In Georgia, it went from a Hispanic girl to an Indian girl to a white girl in middle school, Black. It's like I've always been open to friends of all races. I've never tried to be, I've never tried to be like, I need to only be around a certain group of people. Now, I will say, when I did get to high school, because by the time I got to Georgia, it's like there was a switch. Like when I started elementary and middle school, it was a pretty diverse community. But then like my freshman year of high school, the high school I went to was like majority Black, I would say. And I liked my high school. I didn't have an issue with it. I loved how friendly people were. Everyone got along. And then my sophomore year, I moved to another high school. that was majority white, and I really hated it for a long time. And I hated it because I hated it because it was less diverse, but also because there was like a very cliquey, uppity feel to that high school. And the friends I still have now from high school, I love, appreciate them, whatever. But there was just a lot of things about that high school that I didn't like. But at the end of the day, it's like I'm comfortable. I've grown up being a minority in a lot of different ways. So I've always been okay with being around other races. And what I was pointing out in the video where I said my coworker basically tried to say I wanted to be white or was liked white things, which I feel like I get a lot because people stereotype me because I don't act a certain way, talk a certain way, dress a certain way, whatever, because I don't have the same vernacular. And it's like I speak the way I speak because of how I grew up. Like there's nothing actually like I can't control the way I speak or the way I sound. That's just how I grew up. My mom was very, very hard on me and my sisters. She made sure we always spoke properly. And we would get, in trouble if we said ain't or certain things because my mom just wanted us to speak proper. So that's the reason I speak the way I do, which again, it's like I can't really control other people's perception of me. But when people equate things about me as a person as, because I talk a certain way or look a certain way, dress a certain way, that I want to be white or I'm not comfortable with blackness, that I find that annoying because it's like people are stereotyping me, which is what I pointed out before. And it typically comes from, I've been called Oreo from white people. It's annoying, honestly, regardless of what group of people are racializing me using whatever stereotypes. It's annoying regardless and irritating because I don't need to fit in your box of what you believe a black person needs to act or sound like in order to be black. But again, that is the annoying part of the racialization, when people think your race means you're supposed to act or talk or behave a certain way, or you're supposed to have specific interests. Like I didn't grow up listening to a lot of hip hop or rap music. Mostly my mom I grew up listening to gospel music, Christian contemporary music, like whatever interests in jazz, because my dad liked jazz, whatever, growing up. So it's just like, I don't have the same experience as some other black people have in this country, but it doesn't make me less black the way some people try to project their own stereotypes or identity of what a black person is supposed to be like onto me. So that's what I found annoying. Anyways, I think I've clarified enough what my actual stance is. I don't have an issue with black people. I want to see people in the black community thrive. I want to see black people get out of the, in my opinion, what I believe is a victim mentality that is it's like constantly the excuse you have for why you can't get something, why you couldn't accomplish something. Oh, it's because racism. And then it's just like, does that mean you stop trying? Does that mean you just give up? Is that just the excuse for everything that you don't accomplish in life? And when I say, like, my response to that is so what? And people get mad about that. I'm like, you can't let how other people view you control or limit what you can accomplish in life. So I've had I've experienced racism in my life. Obviously, being a minority in all of these different places, I've come across a lot of racists. One specific experience I had in 8th grade, I remember my last day of 8th grade, I got OSS for the shorts I was wearing, and basically the attendants in the office, the secretary in whatever the office, We had the like fingertip rule, and mind you, y'all, I was wearing like basically Bermuda shorts. They were just maybe slightly less than like to my knee. And this secretary who didn't like me put me in ISS because I broke dress code. Now, mind you, this was a white woman, and I was constantly seeing all of the white girls constantly get away with wearing booty shorts to school. Never ever got dress coded for them. But the moment I wore these, slightly shorter than Bermuda shorts to school, I'm in ISS, and it was this whole thing. But I did feel like, and I feel like also at the time, I maybe didn't think of it as, understand it as racism or process it as racism. And I feel like, honestly, a lot of the racism that people do experience in life, you'll never honestly be able to pinpoint if someone's treating you badly because of racism or because of any other reason. Like, any reason someone is treating you differently, judging you differently, it's always going to feel icky. But it's like, I don't know if this person did it because she was racist or just because she didn't like me specifically. But at the end of the day, I did feel like what happened to me was unfair. Maybe it was racism, maybe she just didn't like me, but all I knew is that all of the white girls got away with wearing booty shorts, and me, I got put in ISS. So, as like a straight A perfect attendance student, so that was something that I experienced. Being called Oreo in high school, I had, there is this really annoying white boy. I won't say his name. But this really annoying boy who was also white. And basically, me and my younger sister specifically, she's currently in school getting double masters and her doctorate. Extremely smart. I had been valedictorian of her class. She was number one in her class her freshman year, and then it was like between her, another guy, and another girl. And, my sister was very smart. She was constantly getting all of these academic awards. She got like the highest grade on the math test, a state math test in the entire school. Like, she was just constantly getting all these accolades. So anyways, this boy who I had chemistry class with, he was always in like a competition with me in chemistry class. Don't know why. It was very one-sided beef, but he was always, trying to prove he could make better grades than me on our test. And every week I would constantly beat him, basically. Like I said, it was a one-sided competition. I was making good grades. I was doing the extra credit. I was putting in the work, the time, the effort. And I love my chemistry teacher, by the way. But I was always getting like either the highest grade on the test or just getting a better grade than this guy. So he was in this one-sided competition with me. And there was a moment when I remember I overheard him talking, and it was like, he basically said something like, oh yeah, it's crazy that her and her sisters, he basically said like, oh, I would love to have their GPAs. And he's like, it's crazy because they're black and a woman. And basically he said like made a very racial comment, asserting that me and my sister shouldn't have been able to get such high grades and do well in school because in his mind, me being black and a woman meant I'm not allowed to accomplish or be smart in his mind. Whatever. Microaggressions, I've dealt with those pretty much all my life. And you know what? I don't allow them to impact how I view all white people. That particular person was annoying, got on my last nerves. I didn't really like him. That's okay. And another kind of annoying, frustrating experience I had was my senior year. I was I don't even want to say the college I went to, but most of y'all, if you've been on my channel a while, you probably know. But basically, I got into a very, I guess, competitive public school in my state, and they had like a list of all the people who were going to this school. Mind you, I'm the only black person in my entire school going to this college. I don't think I was the only black person to get in. I was just the only black person from my entire school to get in. And this girl who didn't get into the school basically tried to say that I only got into the school because I was black. And basically, that annoyed me because it's like all of my accomplishments, me having a really good GPA, taking AP classes, being super involved in school. I did cheerleading, I did track, I did marching band all 4 years. I did chorus all 4 years. I was on academic team, math team, Spanish club, honors. I was a national honor student. Like, I had all of these accolades, but that all got diminished, and I was told I only got into the school because I was black. And basically, she was not upset about all of the other white kids who also got into this school. In her mind, I was the one who shouldn't have gotten in because I was black. But she didn't have a problem with any of the white. It's like there are constant little microaggressions where pretty much anything I accomplished was diminished as being, you know, I'm only getting certain things because of my race. And that's just why I said it's not fair. For identity politics is essentially diminishing all of your accomplishments to your race, or just your I don't know, your phenotypic traits. It's just like you're only getting ahead because of your race, or because you're a woman, or because I don't know. But basically, that was an annoying thing I dealt with in high school. Oh no, my phone's about to die. So anyways, the biggest reason I say all of these things is not because I'm saying racism isn't real, people don't experience racism, or that there's not people who are actively judging and putting others down, or go out of their way to, it's like any person who seeks to make themselves feel better who has to feel better about themselves by putting others down. That person is the actual person that's insecure about themselves. You know, if you're doing great and you're proud of where you are in your life, you don't have to put other people down to make yourself feel better. And I also feel like because I don't have a heart to hate people or to hate others, it doesn't sit right with me that there are people and I'm not going to say that it's the whole black community, because for sure it's not, but I specify the woke community because they're the ones that seem to have some of the most racist attitudes about people. I think Dr. Umar, basically, I would say that is the type of person I'm specifically calling out. If you're someone who listens to Dr. Umar and, you know, people who have this very extreme pride in their blackness and black culture and the black community, but it's so extreme that they actually are being racist and have racist attitudes towards other races, I feel like that's an extreme that is wrong, that is hypocritical, that creates a double standard, and I'm not going to support or stand for that. So yeah, that's all I got, y'all. Peace.